Welcome back again to my best bets video, college football. This time we're going over week 10. Now I just want to point out that going forward, this is going to be just for educational purposes only. I'm 50-50 in the spread picks, 65 and 65. So anything I say is my picks and my picks alone. I'm just here for public information. We're going to start out with the first game of the week. Virginia Tech, 4 points favorite over Syracuse on the road. They're 10-5 in the last 15, covering the spread by 6.5 each time. And they're 6-1 in their last 7 games as an away team. VT is going to cover over Syracuse. Duke taking on Miami. Miami's a 20.5 point favorite. This one it just stinks. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't think Miami's going to cover the 3 touchdowns. I think they're going to win outright, but it's just too much for me to think that Miami is going to cover this one. Duke's going to cover 20.5. Iowa State taking on Texas Tech. They're 13-point favorites. Everything favors the Cyclones in this one. They're 5-2 against the spread overall this year, covering the spread by 4 points. Texas Tech is the exact opposite. They missed the spread by almost 4 points. I'm going to take Iowa State to win and cover the 2-touchdown spread. Number 12, Auburn against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's been the second best team, I think, against the spread this year, 6-2. They're covering by 11 points. Auburn is right around even, but the only thing that's taken me from taking Vanderbilt outright in this game is that they're 1-8 in their last 9 games on the road straight up, while they also lost 5 of the last 7 against Auburn as well. So I'm going to take Auburn to win. Vanderbilt covers the 7.5 points. USC taking on Washington. USC is a slight 2-point favorite. There wasn't much to say about this one except that USC is 1-7 in the last 8 road games, missing the spread by almost 12 points, while Washington is 10-0 in their last 10 home games straight up. That's why I think Washington covers the 2 points and wins outright at home against Southern Cal in this traditional Pac-12 matchup. Number 10, Baylor against TCU. This one, I absolutely no idea which way to go. I'm just going to take a toss-up, stab in the dark. Both teams are just kind of average to not as good against the spread. I'm going to take TCU with the slight upset over Baylor. They beat Texas Tech last week. I think they're just a better team than Baylor. I'm going to take them to cover 3 points and to win outright. Number 9, Minnesota taking on Illinois. This one was one of the more surprising spread picks of the week because Illinois is a 3-point underdog at home. And they're a good team. They just got crushed by Oregon, but I just don't see why the spread is like this. Illinois, both Minnesota and Illinois are really good against the spread. Minnesota covers by 7.5, while Illinois covers by 5 each spread. But Illinois is 5-0 in the last 5 home games outright, while Minnesota has won just 2 of the last 7 against Illinois, especially against the spread. I'm going to take Illinois to cover as a home underdog against the 5-3 Golden Gophers. Number 8, Oregon taking on Michigan. Michigan had their best game of the season by far, complete game, and they come into this one as the biggest home underdog spread since the mid 1990s. Oregon is 6-1 in the last 8 as an away team. They cover by 8 points, while Michigan misses the spread by 3.5 as a home team. Only thing that's in their benefit is they're 6-2 in the last 8 against ranked opponents, but Oregon's just playing too well right now. I'm going to take Oregon to win and to cover the 14.5 points as a road favorite. Number 7, Ole Miss take down Arkansas. This is one of my, I think Arkansas is one of the more better teams, the better outs this whole season. Every which way you could see that Arkansas is going to cover this spread, but every which way you can also see that Arkansas is not going to win the game. They're 10-1 in the last 11 against the spread against Ole Miss. That's why I can't pass up that stat line. But Ole Miss, I just feel like is just too good as a team that Arkansas just finds ways to lose, even though they're decent against the spread this year. I'm going to take Ole Miss, Arkansas to cover the spread. Number 6, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, if they still call it that. Georgia, 14.5 points against Florida. Georgia plays up or down to their opponent. In this one, it'll probably be up since this is a rivalry game. I think Georgia, even though they're 1-4 in the last 5 games against the SEC opponents, Florida's 2 out of the last 7 they've lost. They won only 2 of the last 7 against Georgia outright. And I think Georgia, when the spread is at least 14.5 to 17 points, they're 8-3 the last 11 games. So I'm going to take Georgia to cover the 14.5 against their rival Florida. Number 5, Iowa against Wisconsin. Traditional Big Ten West matchup. Iowa comes to this game looking, I guess, to make a little spark of their season. Wisconsin had that bad loss to Penn State. Not much edge to either team besides that Iowa, when the spread is around 3 points or less, they're 12-5. While Wisconsin's only 6-5. That's why I'm going to take Iowa as the slight home favorite to cover the 3 points against the Badgers. Number 4, Clemson against Louisville. Clemson's 10.5 points. Louisville started off the season doing really well against the spread, but they just faltered. While Clemson's just been killing everybody. They're playing one of the best ball in the entire country. They're 7-4 the last 11 home games, covered by 3.5. While Louisville is just covered one in the last 6 games on the road, and they missed it by 4 points. Clemson's going to win the game outright and cover the 10.5 points against the Cardinal. Number 3, Pitt against SMU, a ranked-on-ranked matchup, undefeated matchup in the ACC. So Pittsburgh has been the best team in the country against the spread this year, covering by 10.5 each game. SMU's 5-3, covered by 3.5 each game, so not much worse. But as a favorite, SMU's 10-7. But as a home team and as a home favorite, SMU has covered by at least 10.5 their last 9 games, while Pittsburgh, see that stat right there, they're 2-5 at the last 7 as the away team, missing by 9 points. And the last 34 teams that were undefeated going into at least their 8th game or later, they're 14-19 against the spread. So that's why I'm going to take SMU to win this and to cover the 7 points. Pittsburgh just is not in a good position. They play one of the weaker schedules on the Power 4. That's why I'm going to take SMU. They're just a much better team at home. Number 2, Texas A&M against South Carolina. A&M, a 3.5-point favorite on the road in a night game at South Carolina. We all know what happened the last time a top 10 team played a night game in November at South Carolina. Spencer Rattler just absolutely annihilated Tennessee that night, putting up 60 points. This one obviously is a much different team. Texas A&M just had a big second half against LSU. They're coming in this one with a lot of momentum. This was a tough one. I really wanted to pull the trigger in South Carolina. I just felt fishy about how the environment's going. But even though Texas A&M has not been trending well against the spread lately, they've actually covered 4 of the last 6 against South Carolina. So I'm going to take them to win the game and to cover the 3-point spread. The biggest game of the year in the Big Ten, one of the biggest games of the entire season, Ohio State coming into Happy Valley, coming in as a 3-point road favorite. The public has taken Ohio State 64% of the time. Both these teams are just not good when it comes to top 5, top 10 matchups. Ryan Day is 1-7 in the last 8 games against top 5 opponents, while James Franklin is actually 1-12 in his last top 10 matchups. The only win that he's become as a head coach as a top 10 team or top 5 team has been against Ohio State in 2016, the kick 6. Everybody remembers that. So either of these teams, something's got to break in these trend. The one thing I'm just going to look at and just hover on, that the last 11 matchups, when it's a top 5 matchup, both teams ranked in the top 5, Ohio State is 2-9 against the spread. While in the last 10 games against Ohio State straight up, or against the spread period, Penn State has covered 7 out of the 10. So that's why in this game, I'm going to take Penn State to cover the 3 points and also come away with the upset victory, move to 8-0, basically send Ohio State to, win or go home the rest of the season. I think they have the talent to do it. They're at home. This is their one chance to pull off this upset. If they don't get it done this time, I have no idea what James Franklin's going to do going forward.